Welcome to Dungeon Master Tools. You're probably wondering just what is Dungeon Master Tools and why do you need it? The best way we know to tell you why you need it is to show you what it does. Once you log on, you're presented with your menu based on your purchases. We'll click on Dungeon Master Tools. The essence of what we've done is we've taken all of the role tables from the Dungeon Master's Guide and we've automated them. You'll notice there are 3 sections: your campaign or quest builder, which is what you would use at the beginning of a campaign or quest when your party is starting something new, the session prep, which you'll go through between sessions, and then the in-session area. These are all the things that might happen while you're in the game. Let's start at the top with the campaign builder. You are presented with a button for world-shaking events. Click the button and the system rolls everything automatically. The result comes up instantly. Events: prediction, omen, prophecy. Leader: a religious leader. Cataclysmic disasters: famine or drought. Invading forces: a past adversary reawakened, reborn or resurgent. Lost resource: a mineral resource, gems, metals, ores. New organization: secret society, cult, cabal. Discovery: new land, island, continent, lost world, demiplane. Everything here is taken directly from the role tables in Chapter 2 of the Dungeon Master's Guide. Not all of these things are going to happen, but now you have half a dozen easy plot hooks to work with. Now you can just highlight, copy, and then paste the information into whatever document you will use during your session. This way you can keep track of what may happen in the game. Now we'll go back to our browser and we'll go to the next button, Create Government. Clicking this button gives us the following information. Type of government: it's a republic, and it even tells you what a republic is in case you're unsure. Fantastic! We'll go ahead and highlight, copy and paste this into our session document. Let's look at Create Multiverse. If your party is headed toward a portal of some sort, where does the portal go? What does it look like? In this case, it looks like the plane is Mechanus. The color of the portal is diamond blue. Psychic wind effects: looks like there aren't any. Location effect: diverted. Add 1d 6 hours to travel time. So the party was diverted. Mental effect: long-term madness. See Chapter 8. Actually, we don't have to see Chapter 8 because we can go down here to madness effects. Long-term madness right there. In this case, the character falls unconscious. No amount of jostling or damage can wake the character. Lasts 60 hours or 2.5 days. As you can see, these role tables all work with each other. They complement each other. Let's go back and see what we've got next. Quest Builder. The Quest Builder is exactly what it says it is. It gives you quest hooks for the party to follow. The dungeon goals: pursue fleeing foes taking refuge in the dungeon. Well, that seems easy enough to set up. You, as the dungeon master, have to just come up with a foe. We'll do that in a minute and have them lead the party into the dungeon. Or perhaps some townsfolk tell the party about raiders taking refuge in a nearby ruin, which happens to be the entrance to the dungeon. Wilderness goals: map a new land. If they're in the wilderness, their goal might be to map a new land. Other goals: defend a location from attackers. Seems simple enough. Once they get into the dungeon, they may have to defend that dungeon or that entrance from people who are pursuing them. Again, all of this comes directly from the Dungeon Master's Guide. Now that we've got the basics of the quest that your party is going to be on, it's time to look at all the things that you're going to prep between sessions. These 4 buttons here are going to be used every week, assuming that you're doing a weekly game. Every week you're going to come in and you're going to click on them. First, we create your encounter. Now this encounter table is built directly off of the rules that you will find in the Dungeon Master's Guide. All that math that you never did has been done for you. Now I'm going to show you how this works, and we're going to get into some peculiarities of the math. Let's assume first off that this is a brand new party, new characters, first time out. We want to make something easy to build confidence. So on the encounter difficulty, we're going to click on easy. Let's say that there are 5 people in the party. The party level is first level because this is their first time out. So we want them to encounter, I don't know, with 5 members in the party, let's say 5 monsters. Let's see what happens. So we go ahead, we've got all that set up, we click roll encounter. It tells us for a 5-person party of first level. You can have 5 frogs or 5 seahorses, or you can have any combination of the 2 that add up to 5. So you can have 3 frogs and 2 seahorses. Of course, this kind of assumes that they're going to be in water somewhere. Maybe they're nowhere near any water. We've got something else we can do. Instead of making it too easy, let's see if we can't change the number of monsters to encounter. We'll go up to 6 and see what it gives us. Same thing. Let's see if we can start with 10. So as you can see, based on the math of the encounter tables in the Dungeon Master's Guide, first level, 5 players, easy encounter, it's going to be frogs and seahorses, which are very easy to defeat. That's the whole point. Let's see what happens if we try something a little more difficult. Let's go with a medium encounter. Okay, a medium encounter, party of 5, first level, 10 monsters. There are no matches. Try increasing or decreasing the number of monsters, or change the encounter difficulty. Well, we just changed the encounter difficulty, so let's go ahead and change the number of monsters to encounter. I'm willing to bet it's going to be less than 7. Let's go ahead and click that. Yeah, it still gives us this message. One of the unique issues with the math that comes in the Dungeon Master's Guide is that a lot of times you'll find that based on the numbers, there are no monsters that fit the encounter. At first that seems wrong. But really what it comes down to is the DM's guide shows you how to create an extremely balanced encounter. In order to be a balanced encounter, it has to be set up specifically. So as we go through, we just keep decreasing the number of monsters and clicking the button until we get something. And eventually, there we go. With 3 monsters, a medium encounter is going to be 3 monsters, and it's going to be any 3 of these monsters here. So the encounter could be with a baboon, a commoner, and a goat. That's 3. It could be 2 commoners and a goat. It could be 3 homunculi. You see how that works? Down at the bottom of the page, it tells you the Monster Challenge rating. In this case, for all these monsters, the Monster Challenge rating is 0, and for first level, because that's what we're working with, the Adventuring Day XP should be 300. So your party should have 300 experience points worth of encounters per game day. And it also tells you that each of these monsters is worth 10 experience points. So as the monsters are brought up, it tells you what the monster is and gives you the experience points that your party will gain should they defeat those monsters. If you are using mileposts, then experience points are irrelevant. As you can see, if you are doing the math by hand, it could be really frustrating to do all the math used in the DM's guide, because there's quite a bit involved, only to find out that there are no monsters that your party can encounter based on the numbers you put in. With Dungeon Master Tools, it's all done automatically. All you have to do is determine the encounter difficulty, select how many people in the party, what their level is, and how many monsters you want them to encounter. If no monsters are suitable, change the number of monsters or the encounter difficulty. It's that simple. Again, because this is a medium encounter for a first level party of 5 people, 3 monsters is probably going to be the total you're going to get for any medium encounter. If we want a hard encounter, let's see if we can bump that up a little bit. We try 4 monsters. Okay, 4 monsters works. Let's try 5. That also works. Try 6. You'll notice the monsters don't change. What does change is the number of monsters. So it looks like for a hard encounter we want 5, and they're still the same monsters. They're all worth 10 experience points. So really, what goes up for the encounter difficulty is the number of monsters. And that you'll find is absolutely the way it works in the Dungeon Master's Guide. Let's go ahead and copy this information to our session document. I'm going to go ahead and move this over. I'll show you what I'm doing here. So I'm going to type this in hard difficulty. I'm going to also type in 5 monsters. Number of monsters. And then I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste. This gives us all the information we need. This also allows us, because we know that these are the monsters that are going to be encountered for this party's experience level. We also know that if we want a medium encounter, we want 3 monsters. We can now use this table for any of the encounters that the party has during the game. Simple enough. Now let's go ahead and roll NPCs. We can just go ahead and click the Roll NPC button. This gives us all the information on this NPC. Actually, before we get to copying and pasting, we can go down here to this link, NPC Name Generator. Clicking it takes us to an online NPC name generator. If we go to Fantasy Folklore, we want to... Let's start with, can we find EFGH, human? Do we have a human? Of course they won't have humans. Those are easy enough to name. Let's go with elf names then. We'll start with an elf. Okay, so why not? Kendall Winra. There's the name. Elf. We'll just type that in, just so we remember. Then we'll come back over here, and this is everything about Kendall Winra. Copy and paste this into our session document. Now we come down here to NPC 2. Click the button and it's a completely different character. Go ahead and copy this in. And we'll go ahead and go back and we'll call this, I don't know, Dragonkin names, and we'll go with Coulter. Why not? Now for our third NPC, we want a villain. Remember, the quest builder had us pursuing fleeing foes into the dungeon. This is our foe. So we'll go ahead and check this box and we'll click Roll NPC. Now, because we checked that box, it gives us the villain scheme, which again you find in the Dungeon Master's Guide. So go ahead and we will copy this and we will go back over here. And let's see. I think let's go with an orc. We want an orc for this. So in less than 2 minutes, we've just rolled up the NPCs that the characters are likely to meet. All right, we'll go over here to Adventure Environment. This assumes either wilderness or urban. If you check the box, it's wilderness. If you leave it unchecked, it's urban. Let's go and do urban. So the dungeon is located in a mountain pass. It seems that our dungeon is not going to be in town. The party's going to have to actually leave town to get to the dungeon. The creators of the dungeon were worshippers of a neutral deity. The purpose of the dungeon was a temple or shrine. The history is that the creators were destroyed by a magical catastrophe. Settlement. The settlement of the town or city that this dungeon is near. The race relations are harmonious. Status of ruler. It's ruled or controlled by a powerful monster. That could be an interesting session in itself. Perhaps that orc we just rolled up. Notable trait. Worship of all gods are banned. Well, that might explain why this dungeon, which used to be originally a temple or shrine, was destroyed. Known for delicious cuisine. Okay, so at least the party is going to eat well between adventures. Current calamity. It's a plague or famine. Sparks riots. Interesting. All these plot hooks. Just go ahead and copy that over to my session document. Okay, and then between adventures because your party is going to return to the town. So what mayhem does the party get into? Well, if they want to go carousing, this asks the level of the character. We said they were first level. All right, so we'll go ahead and click on that. You regain consciousness in a strange place with no memory of how you got there, and you have been robbed of 55 gold pieces. Wow. Does our first level character even have 55 gold pieces? If not, they have no money. Let's go ahead and see what happens if one of the characters wants to run a business. Number of days spent on the business. Well, how long were they in town? A week. We'll call it 7 days. All right? The business covers its own maintenance costs for each of the days. It earns a profit of 55 gold pieces. That's convenient. If the character was robbed of 55 gold pieces, let's assume that one of the characters brings a magical item out of the dungeon. Okay, what type of magic item is it? Common, uncommon, rare, or very rare? Let's say it's uncommon. Put a 2 in there. It tells us a buyer is offering 1/10 of the base price. You as the DM have to decide what that base price is. Does the player accept that low price? So as you can see, literally in a matter of moments, we have all the information that we need to start a campaign or quest. From the top we have world-shaking events, prediction, omen, prophecy. It's a religious leader. That always ends well. Cataclysmic disasters, famine or drought. We saw that earlier over here in the environment, right? Yes, current calamity, plague or famine. So that works very well. Invading forces, a past adversary, reawakened, reborn or resurgent. We can work with that. Maybe the orc NPC is working for that reborn adversary. Lost resource, mineral resource, gems, metals or ores. New organization, secret society, cult or cabal. We might actually have some sort of secret society in that dungeon, right? As you can see, within minutes, all of this information is provided for you. Of course, it's taken me longer to explain how it works than it will for you to just click the buttons, then copy and paste. In less than 5 minutes, you'll have all the information you need to start the game and get things going, and have all the information that your players might ask about right in front of you. And then, of course, you can save this information. You can print it out on paper, or you can bring it up on your tablet, your laptop, or your phone, and have it right in front of you for everything you'll need. That is the power of Dungeon Master Tools. Along with Dungeon Master Tools, you also get Lawscape Audio. Every month you get 30+ audio files. We're talking music, sound effects, drones for creating suspense, everything you could possibly need in order to set the atmosphere of your game. Let's see if we can't give you an example of what this might sound like. Our ambient music. sets a tonal quality of what to expect. Let's look at one of the drones. So your players are walking through an underground chamber. Large, echoing. It's dank and wet. Every footstep echoes. They look around. They feel like they're being watched. They can't see anything. Let's look at the weather. A thunderclap might be useful, and not just for a weather sound effect. These 3 sounds are just examples. They're actual files in this first month's download. Click the download button. It will download a zip file that will unzip into a structured directory file system so that all of your files every month go into the same directories without overwriting each other. That way, you will always know where to find your sounds. This is what Dungeon Master Tools is. Hopefully, you will find it useful and interesting. Normally, Dungeon Master Tools and Lawscape Audio are each $9.99 per month, but by bundling them together in this silver membership, you get half off Lawscape Audio. That's right, if you take advantage of this limited time offer, you get both Dungeon Master Tools and Lawscape Audio, not for $20 a month, but for only $14.98. This is a limited time offer, so you need to take advantage of it now.